Hi everyone. So in today's video, we are going to see how you can actually get all the folders that are there in a particular tenant, right? So using Orchestrator API calls. So now what I'm going to show here is a step-by-step tutorial. So there's already a video, a playlist, complete playlist on how you can do these API calls using Postman. That means to check these particular APIs. So here I am going to show you how you can do the same thing in Studio, that is using HTTP request. And also I have created some videos on the same. So let me just quickly show you those. So if you head to my channel, you can just see in the playlist, you can observe that there is a complete 15 videos or there in Orchestrator API Postman. So here there are a lot of API calls that we are doing, and we are checking them using Postman. And apart from that, there are also two videos on how you can do this using HTTP request, Orchestrator API calls using HTTP request. So the same thing you can apply for all other API calls. So here I'm going to show you how you can actually do the get folders. So before to that, the main and the most important thing is authentication, right? So you can do the authentication. So if you go to this particular playlist, I will give you the link for this playlist in the description. You can check it out there. So if you go to this particular playlist, what you can observe here is how you can do the authentication to Cloud Orchestrator using HTTP request. So this is a mandatory thing, because whenever you don't do the authentication, and if you're copying the access token, but this will be refreshed after some time, this will be an auto refresh, right? So you have to keep this dynamic all the time in your process. So that's why whenever you do the authentication, what I would suggest is you can just you can just invoke that particular XAML into your get folder XAML. Okay, so whenever you run get folders, a new authenticate access token will be created, and the authentication would be done. And later, that particular access token you can utilize for get folder as well. So if at all you have any doubt on authentication, how you can do and how you can access all of that particular APIs, I've clearly explained in that particular video, which I have shown you here, right? So you can just go and check it out, this particular video. I will also provide the link of this particular playlist in the description. So once after this is done, what I have done in authentication is I am fetching this access token and assigning this into an output argument, passing that output, and I'm fetching the same thing into the access token. So once after that is done, I will have my access token in this particular workflow. So what is the next step that I will do? I have to do the get folder, right? So for get folder, I will show you the, let me go to, okay. So here in this, I am going to, I'll also provide you the link from where you can get this APIs. So I'm going to the folders. Okay. So in the folders, I have get folders, right? So here in the right side, what you can see is a request, and this is the response. So I'm copying the request, and I have shown you how you can actually do the request, right? So you need to have HTTP request activity. If at all you cannot see the HTTP request, I would suggest you to install web API package. Click on configure, and here you provide that particular URL. So here everything got copied, right? So what you have to do is, so you can either take from here so that it will be only this much. Okay. So just delete this whole thing and paste this. But here, if you observe, this is cloud URL, cloud organization, cloud tenant, right? So you need to include whatever your cloud URL is linked to. So here I'm just going to my tenant. Okay, orchestrator. So here I can just copy this whole thing. Okay, and then coming back to my URL, here I will just add up this thing. Okay, slash. And this should be in double quotes. That's it. Save. So you can see that coming up over here. And what is the request type? We are trying to get the folders, right? So obviously the request type will be get. And what is the other things that we have to add here is authorization, right? So you have to do the authorization. So how you can do, just select here authentication as auth2, and you have to provide here the access token. So how you can provide the access token? Access token value. Okay, click on save. So preview you cannot see because the authorization has to be done, right? So it's okay. Let's say okay here. And once after this HTTP request is done, so you can see here the output, right? So how the output we can view, we have to provide the status, str status, okay, and the content. This is the value of the content. Str content. Okay, so based on how the content is coming, we will proceed to the next steps. Okay, so for in order to view it, I'm just using log message. Let's pull the log message. You can also view it in the debug mode. I'll show you how you can do that. So once after this is done, I'm just going to fetch the content of this one. So here I'll put a breakpoint. So now I will also show you what is the access token at each step. I'll clearly explain you what is happening here. Okay. So authentication, right? Okay, done. So now I'm just debugging the get folder. So what will happen here? It will first go to authenticate and it will fetch the access token. And from there, it will take the access token and give it to the get folders, because in get folders, we are using the same access token in order to do the authorization. Okay, so the process is compiling. So I'll also provide you the links of all of this Postman and everything where you can get the APIs from, so you can easily access them. So you can see here this is the access token that got generated, right? This is the access token. So this will be available only for I believe 48 hours, and after that it's gonna get expired. So after which you have to get a new access token. The same access token, if you're trying to use, it will not be working. The authorization will be failed. So that's why you, whenever you are using this particular API calls where the access token is needed, you also have to include authentication also into your workflow. So we can clearly see the access token got retrieved, and after that we are trying to send a request in order to get the folder values, right? So now I'm just clicking on str content, so we can see the content that got over here, right? So if I provide that here, str content, so this is the immediate panel. Okay, so in the immediate, whenever you're trying to do the debug, you can see all of these panels, right? So you can see immediate panel also coming over here, right? Perfect. So in this you wanted to fetch, what is the value that you wanted to fetch from here? So if I just, this is actually not so clearly understandable, like where is our required value, the the default name or the ID of that particular folder. It's not clear, right? So that's why I suggest using a Postman, because in Postman the structure of it will be very clear. And also if at all you don't know how to use Postman, that's fine. But yeah, here we can also see the folders, right? In the get folder, yeah, here you can see this is the way that it actually appears. So this is the format that it is coming in, right? So if at all you see here, we have three folders, right? In our tenant we have three folders. So I'm going to my tenant, So here in my tenant, I have 3 folders, right? So here we can see data.count is 1. That means there's only one folder. Okay, but here if you see in my output that I'm getting, I have 3 folders. So let me just copy this whole thing and I'll put it in a notepad so that it will be clearly visible. So here we can see it is mentioned as 3, and inside value we have an array. So this square bracket means an array, right? So here we can see 3 values. So from here it's starting, the first value is starting, and here it's ending. The next value is starting from here and it's getting ended, right? So here, and the third value is this one. So here ends the array, right? So this is one element inside array, this is the second element, and this is the third element, right? So now what I wanted to fetch here is, first thing I wanted to get what is the display name of this particular folder. So it is default. And what is the ID of that particular folder? This is the value. So in order to go inside this, we already have seen deserialization, right? So if at all you don't know how you can get the values from this particular JSON, I have clearly made a video on how you can deserialize. So that also I will provide in the link. So in this particular playlist, you can find out it, that how you can actually use deserialization. This is the one. Okay, so how you can use deserialize JSON, how you can use deserialize JSON array. So the format that comes out from an API, right? After HTTP request, the response is a JSON, but you should utilize the values from the JSON in order to take it forward to the next steps, right? So how you can do that? You have to deserialize that particular JSON that comes out. So in this video, I've clearly explained it. I'll link this particular video. Just check it out so that it will be clear for you. Yes. So in order to use get these values, I should use deserialize JSON array, because this is from an array. This is an array, but I can get all these values using a normal JSON. Okay. So first, what I'll do? First, I will get the value of this one, of this, and then I'll fetch the output into this. So how can I do that? First, I'll be using Deserialize JSON. I'm directly using Deserialize JSON here. Okay. So the output of it, the input of this will be a string. So what is the string? str content. Because the output of the HTTP request I'm passing here into the Deserialize JSON. And what is the output that I will be fetching? Is a JSON. Okay. So for that, I have to change this value into JObject. Newtons of dot JSON dot link dot JObject. Okay. So the output of this is okay. So the output of it, I'm just giving JObject folders. Okay. Fine. The output of this is JObject folders. That means it will deserialize the values and it will fetch the output. And once after it deserializes, right? So I wanted to fetch which value first? From the value. From the value, if I fetch the output, I'll get all of this. And from all of this, I will be getting only the required values, which is display name and the ID. So how can I get that? So for which I will be using deserialize JSON array. Okay. And inside which what I will be passing is JObject folders dot select token. Okay. And what is the value? the value exact key I have to paste over here. Okay, so if at all it's a little bit confusing for you why I'm writing all of this, whatever the video that I've shown you just now, which is Deserialize Json, this video will provide you the full clarity on what we are exactly doing over here. So once after you watch the video, this will be pretty much clear. So if you haven't watched the previous video on how you can do the deserialization, so you definitely watch it. This will give you a clear idea. So after I pass this over here, I'll be getting an array. So that means I will be getting this particular array. That means this will be the output. Correct? So from this output, I want to fetch this value. So it will be a loop, right? So three values are there. So I'm passing it into a for each. I'm passing it into a for each so that it will iterate every time. So what is the array, input array for this? JSON array folders. So I will iterate through this, and whenever it goes through each of it, whenever it goes through each of the item, what I wanted to print, current item dot select token, what is the value? First value is the display name. You have to copy the exact token. Okay. Dot to string. So now what will come? The display name will come. That means the folder name. Folder name. So I just wanted to give some static text. Folder name has ID. Okay, and here I will print the ID. So what will be the ID? The syntax is current item dot select token, and the value is ID. Copy this whole thing and put it over here. Dot to string. So that's it. So whenever it iterates through, it will print 3 folders and then 3 IDs. So now let's do the debug till here. Okay, whenever it iterates, it prints that particular folder with the ID. So I will be linking all the previous videos which will give you good understanding to get this concept clearly in the description. Go check it out so that it will be helpful for you, and also I'll try to tag it on the top of the video. Yes. So along with that, so recently I have created a lot of videos on UiPath VB apps. So surely I'll be tagging those videos also. Go please check it out them. If at all you're working on VB apps, that will be very much helpful for you too. So if you check here in the log, I just mentioned the default has ID 41746. That means the folder default is the folder name and the ID is the ID of that particular folder. And then modern temp, here we can just check it out in the orchestrator as well. So here in the orchestrator, in the orchestrator here, we can see modern temp default, right? And the shade has this one. Perfect. So we've seen all of these things. That's it. So this is about it. And and in the next video, I will be talking about how you can actually get the processes. That means in each of the folders. So if you go here into this particular folder, I have 9 processes in this particular folder, right? So how you can get these processes, how you can start those processes, how you can get the queue items, how you can add all the queue items, how you can get the assets, all of these things I'm going to talk in the next coming up videos. And also I have created a channel for the in WhatsApp, so you can just I will also provide you the link for that particular channel, so where I'll be providing the updates on the latest videos that I'm going to update and what are the topics that I'm going to update on my channel. So if at all you're interested, just click on the link and try to join the channel. That will be helpful for you so that you don't miss out anything on the channel that's coming up in future. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, bye.